Hey everyone, welcome to a new video, and in today's video we've got what's been registered as an accident, a Marathon Embraer 195, an accident that occurred at Belgrade Airport yesterday evening. Now this Embraer 195 used to fly for a Danish airline called Great Dane Airlines. They operate a few Embraer 195s, all of them registered Oscar Yankee Golf Delta Alpha, the first one, Bravo, the second one, and Charlie, the third one. Now, this aircraft that was involved in the accident, I should rightly term it as, the accident at Belgrade Airport yesterday was Oscar Yankee Golf Delta Charlie. Now, this still bears a registration of the former operator. However, it is operated by Marathon Airlines on behalf of Air Serbia. Now, we've got the Aviation Herald article here. We also have the flight radar data, which is also very, very interesting. So the instant flight all began when the crew were departing off Belgrade's new runway runway 30 left. Now, there are a few intersections. There's 1, 2, 3 intersections further down. If you want to use Delta 5 as an intersection, that is. The crew decided to use this intersection, Delta 5, to depart. Now, from here to the end of the runway, there's only 4,175 feet available. Now, rather than taxiing further down the runway to use one of the other holding points, the crew elected to depart from here. As they were in the takeoff roll, they left the end of the runway, they impacted equipment and causing significant damage to the aircraft. You can actually see this on flight radar 24. The aircraft's at 110 knots here as they go past the end of the runway. They continued past the end of the runway into the field at the end of the runway, shown at 151 knots right in the middle of a field. The new runway that was built, and it was opened at Belgrade in June of last year, only just goes so far as about this point here. So anyway, the crew impacted some of the ILS equipment and other obstacles, whatever they may have been, and you can see here on the Aviation Herald the damage that caused to that leading edge slat, the join of the wing section on the fuselage, the hydraulics. There's a video on Twitter, and you can actually see it from this photo here, but you could see the fuel and possibly hydraulic fluid as well pouring out of the side underneath the wing. You see the damage here to the fuselage, that gouge there on the side. You know, it's a wonder that this aircraft returned and managed to land safely. The crew did an excellent job in doing so. Also, just near the tail section here, you've got that that gap in the that gouge even in the leading edge. Some very, very significant damage. This chart here, provided by the Aviation Herald, just shows you a general layout of Belgrade's airport. And this is the thing that just blows my mind. So we have the new runway here, which is runway 12 right, 30 left. You've got holding point taxiway Delta 1 there, Delta 2 here, Delta 3, Delta 4, and this one where they took off from, Delta 5. This intersection is inside the touchdown zone of runway 12 right, and it's just baffling why they chose to depart from here, and why did Tower allow them to depart from here. Just seems absolutely crazy. In previous flights, if you look on playback, it's quite frequent that they take off from this intersection here at taxiway Delta 6. That makes more sense as an intersection takeoff. You've got plenty of margin, you know, for any chance of a rejected takeoff or the like. Something to see. If we look on the flight radar data just briefly, you can see the aircraft did eventually manage to make it airborne. shown at 50 feet at this point here. It's absolutely crazy. They were shown at 50 feet just as they managed to get over a motorway. Yeah, absolutely crazy. So the crew managed to get airborne eventually. They went around. Now, as they came back round, you can see here they descended down to the lowest altitude of 1,550 feet. Now, interestingly, the section at which the crew descended was just over here, where we have quite a bit of significant terrain down to the south east of the airport. Just around Belgrade here, you've got peaks of 1,191, 1,342 feet. It's the minimum safe altitude in that section is 3,000, 3,200, 3,100 feet. So in this area where the crew started descending down towards, they were only a few hundred feet above the terrain, and this being just after they departed. So yeah, not good at all, just a few hundred feet. The crew then climbed back up above the minimum safe altitude, back up to about 7,000 feet. They then entered a series of turns and held just for a little while before then coming back to try and approach. Now on this approach, bearing in mind this is just as a reference, but the flight radar is giving ground speeds of 179, 184 knots there, even all the way up until final approach there at 379 feet, still at 180 odd knots, which is very fast for your approach. Second attempt, the crew came back in on the approach and successfully landed. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what becomes of this accident and the investigation. But thankfully, all on board survived, and the aircraft managed to land successfully. But again, just looking at the very little that we know, taking off from that intersection with very light winds in the touchdown zone of the opposite side of runway 12 right just seems a little bit daft. But who am I? Anyway, folks, let me know your thoughts about this one in the comment section. I'll be very interested to see what you think of this. Thank you all very much for watching. Hope you have a great week, and we'll catch you in another new video soon.